Well, Isaac, I hope this behaves while we explain this to you here. This is a problem require order of operations. So to be able to do it, you need to do order of operations. So let's just kind of take a look again, a quick review as to what the order of operations actually is. First of all, you deal with whatever's inside parentheses. And then you deal with exponents. And then you do multiplication and division. And they aren't in this order. They're together. Okay, so they're tied for third from left to right. And then finally, you do addition and subtraction. And they're tied for last, again, as you go from left to right. Okay. Let me move these away so we'll have room to work on this. Okay. By the way, there's an acronym for remembering that order. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Okay, if that helps. Anyway, so we're looking at this thing here, and first of all, what's in parentheses? Well, there's two sets of parentheses, and then actually a third thing that behaves like parentheses. Okay, so the first item here is this parenthesis here, only it's not really anything to do inside this first set of parentheses. There's just the number -4/5. Inside the second set of parentheses, there are two things to be combined by subtraction. Inside, underneath the radical, a radical acts like a set of parentheses. It groups things together. And so underneath the radical, there is something, in fact, to do because 343, it turns out, is divisible by 7. So let's do our parenthesis work first, okay? So 15/16 just kind of carries down times -4/5, and again, there's not much we can do with that. But then we've got these guys inside the parentheses that we need to add. And in order to add or subtract, we need a common denominator. And so that common denominator we get by making sure, well, let's look. 1/7, and we're taking -4/5. And we look down at this denominator and we say, what does this denominator need that this one already has? Well, this one has a 5 that this doesn't have. So it needs a 5. Only you can't just multiply the denominator by 5. That changes it. But if we multiply numerator and denominator by 5, well, that's just multiplying that fraction by 1. And that's okay. Similarly, what does this denominator need that this one has? Well, this one over here has a 7. This one could use 1. But again, you can't just multiply the denominator by 7. You got to multiply the numerator by 7 as well. So we're really just multiplying that side by 7/7. Okay? Now, we've gotten all the writing we can do on this level. Let's just continue and do some simplifying over here. Turns out 343 divided by 7 is 49. Just take that into Mr. Calculator if you don't believe me, and you can see that 343 divides evenly by 7. Okay, so we can keep on doing work inside the parentheses now. We got that 15/16, -4/5. This becomes 5/35 minus 28/35. So 5 minus 28 is -23/35. Okay, so 7 times 4 is 28. We're subtracting that from 5. Okay, and then divided by square root of 49. So now we've done our work inside the parentheses. Now the next thing we got to deal with is exponents. And this is another trick question here. Realize that a square root, we're going to learn this semester, you may have remembered from last time, that a square root is just raising to the 1/2 power. So square roots behave like exponents, and this square root of 49 needs to be simplified next. So we're just going to take that, cross it out, and replace it with 7. Square root of 49 is 7 because 7 times 7 equals 49. Okay, now let's do some more work here. The next thing we've got is multiplication and division from left to right. So the first multiplication we do is this multiplication right. Oh, let's underline it in red here. That's the first multiplication we got to do because it's the first one from left to right. I'm going to do some canceling here. 15 is 5 times 3, and the 5s will cancel. 16 is 8, or excuse me, it's also 4 times 4. It is 8 times 2. And so the 4s will cancel, leaving you with -1 there. And so this first fraction, kind of messy, becomes 3 over 4, right? Because that 4 canceled with this one, okay? 3 over 4 times -1 over, when you have nothing left down there, that's like -1 over 1. Okay, this still stays -23 over 35, and we're still dividing by 7. Okay, so now we do the next item in order, and that's this multiplication right here. Well, that's just 3/4 times -1, and 3/4 times -1 is -3/4. Okay? Next, we've got to multiply these two things. So we multiply numerators by numerators, denominators by denominators. -3 times -23 becomes +69. 4 times 35 becomes 140. Okay? Dividing by 7 is the same as multiplying by 1/7. This becomes 69 over 980. And I'm hoping that is your correct answer. There's a lot of places, as you can see, where you can make errors in this complex of a problem, but it's just following the order of operations. Parentheses, do what's in parentheses first, what's grouped together, that is, by parentheses or a square root sign first. Then you take care of exponents. Exponents includes taking the square root of something. Then you do your multiplication and division from left to right. This problem happened to have all the multiplications first and the division last. But that doesn't matter because multiplication and division are tied. Same with addition and subtraction. There's no addition and subtraction going on in this problem. But if you had them, you'd save that for last and you'd go from left to right in order. You wouldn't try to do all the additions first and then do all the subtractions. I hope this helps. Go try a few more similar exercises over in MyMathLab's homework version, and you can take on the quiz again.